I do not believe that anyone will ever stop mourning the loss of a family member. There is no possible consolation for the loss of a child, a parent, or a sibling. It is simply irremediable, and we must learn to live with that pain. However, even if you cannot physically meet your loved one again, by visiting their grave or memorial, you can at least feel their presence for a while and soothe the pain of their loss, even if only for a few minutes. Our story today takes place on a piece of land in Richmond, California, owned by energy giant Chevron. It was a huge piece of land and very well cared for by the owners of the company, yet it was a place frequented only by those who were connected with Chevron and worked there. It was not a place to pass through where you could meet someone taking a stroll. Perhaps that's why it was so strange when one morning out of the blue, a mysterious memorial suddenly appeared on the edge of the road flanking the company. No one had ever seen it before, and of course no one had any idea how it got there. After several weeks of rumors and speculation among company employees, the matter came to the attention of Chevron executives who decided to take a look to see what it was all about. The company's initial idea was to remove it immediately and put an end to the rumors, but when Joe Lawrence, one of the company's top executives, went to the site of the monument, he found it impossible to get rid of it. The executive realized the monument was honoring the memory of someone who'd lost his life there. It was not usual, but he knew that there had been some traffic accidents on that road. Being a road with little traffic, drivers took the opportunity to exceed the speed limits, sometimes taking the life of an innocent person or themselves. Joe decided to leave the monument there as it was out of respect for the memory of the deceased and for whoever it was that visited and kept it in good condition. We'll pretend that the monument is part of the company and its grounds, and we'll put the matter to rest, at least for now, was the decision that Lawrence communicated to his colleagues after visiting the site and realizing its significance. Since that day, more than 12 years have passed in which the mysterious roadside memorial has remained a complete mystery to all. Everything remained the same. Someone was secretly taking care of the monument, and during the day, it vanished. The mystery and expectation surrounding the monument had grown to such an extent that it had even appeared on the news on occasion, although nothing had ever been made clear. Until suddenly, everything changed and the identity of the mysterious caretaker of the monument came to light. It turned out the caretaker of the memorial was Ray Olsson, a decorated former Marine who visited the site every night for more than 12 years to honor his only son who had died in a car accident at that very spot. Ray lost his son Raymond Olsson tragically and unexpectedly in a 2003 car accident on a highway in Richmond, California. The 22-year-old, who was there because his motorcycle had broken down and was waiting for roadside assistance to come to his aid, was struck and died instantly by a drunk driver who lost control. The land where Raymond died was owned by the multi-billion-dollar Chevron company, and Ray was so sure that the company would never allow him to erect an official memorial that he didn't even ask. The only person who knew of Ray's plans was his wife, who never agreed with him. However, she didn't want to contradict him because she knew that when her husband made a decision, there would be no way to convince him otherwise. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. So instead of doing things civilized and asking permission from the owners of the land, he decided to install a monument there in secret, a small tombstone with a wreath that he visited every night and kept in perfect condition. He knew what he was doing was against the rules and that if someday someone decided to investigate it further, he would get into serious trouble, but none of that mattered to him. The pain he felt over the loss of his son was greater than the fear of going to jail. For more than 12 years, visiting his son's monument was his way of reconciling himself with life and the pain he felt for having lost him in such an unjust way. At first, he only went there to make sure the monument was still standing and to arrange the flowers, but then as the years went by, he began to talk in front of the tombstone, and that moment of absolute solitude became the only peaceful moment of the day. "Why do you keep going there? Our son has his own grave, Ray. You should visit his grave and not go on private property every night. You'll end up getting in trouble, do you hear me? Ray, please listen to me and listen to me if only for once." His wife scolds him every day, very annoyed at her husband's reckless attitude. "You would understand, but that's where our son left. A piece of his soul is still there. That's why I go there and not to the cemetery. In that place, fate wanted to take our son away from us, and by going there, I try to reconcile myself with the pain it causes me. Do you get that?" Her husband answered her, very moved. Eventually, Olsson's wife got tired of fighting with him and decided not to bring up the subject again and let her husband continue with his ritual, a ritual that he continued to do for every night that followed. It seemed that the truth would never be discovered and Ray's monument would always be safe there, but it wasn't. One day in 2016, Ray received a surprising message from the company that would break his heart again. They left him a small one at the monument, informing him that the area was to be redeveloped. According to Chevron, the property needed an upgrade, so they posted a note and left it at the memorial, urging the anonymous caretaker to contact the energy giant to work out a deal. That night, Ray felt that his heart was breaking again and that the peace he had struggled to find for so many years was going to vanish at any moment. But he was not willing to give up without a fight. It was then that Ray Olsson finally decided to step forward and abandon his anonymity. He was sure that Chevron would tear down his monument and with it his memories, and he wasn't about to stand by and watch his beloved son's memory be destroyed. What he could never imagine was what would actually happen. The morning after reading the note left for him, Ray went to the company and asked to speak to the manager urgently. Seeing the management secretary was giving him the runaround and recommended he come another day because the director was very busy attending to business, Ray used the last resort he had left and which would get the attention of everyone present to reveal his true identity. Miss, my name's Raymond Olsson and I'm the person who's been taking care of the mysterious monument in this company for more than 12 years. I urgently need to speak to your boss. Please, there's no time to lose. Olsson told her, looking her straight in the eyes. It was impossible not to believe that everything he said was true. A few minutes later, Raymond was inside Joe Lorenz's office, and for the first time he would have the opportunity to ask him what he dared not to do 12 years ago. Mr. Lorenz, I know I should have asked your permission a long time ago, and I also know I had no right to erect a monument on your property, but it was about my son and… But before he could finish his sentence, Joe Lorenz interrupted him. What the man had to tell him would be the best news Raymond had received in years. Olsson arrived at Chevron's grounds imagining that in just a few weeks the whole place would be under construction and full of machines that would tear down the precious monument of his late son. But what he never imagined was that it would precisely be that company, which he'd been sneaking into every night for 12 years, that would finally erect a new monument in his place, a brand new one built solely by and for the memory of his son Ray. Mr. Olsson, please let me explain everything calmly. No one intends to demolish your monument. On the contrary, what we want to do is preserve it. And not only that, we'd also like to renovate it. But this time we'd like to do it officially and would like you to be part of the project. What do you think? Lorenz asked Olsson politely. Raymond was so surprised that it took him a few seconds before he could answer. He'd never thought of the possibility of being able to collaborate with a company to honor his son's memory. Knowing that he could count on the company's support and stop hiding made him feel a great relief. He had been suffering for so long in silence over the loss of his son and acting like a real fugitive that he couldn't help it. Hearing him tell the man that his son would have his own memorial and that he'd be part of the project brought tears to his eyes. I think it's perfect, sir. You don't know how much it'll mean to me to have you do that for my family. I'll be eternally grateful to you for that, replied the father, very excited and smiling. After speaking with Olsson and putting the mystery of the memorial to rest, the company contacted Cesar Zepeda, president of the neighborhood board in the area, and asked if they could collaborate to create a permanent memorial. The intention of the new project was to honor the memory of Olsson's son with the creation of a new memorial, but also to make it a place of encounter and respect for all those who had also lost someone on that road, which unfortunately were many more than originally imagined. A few months later, as promised, the company placed a beautiful gold plaque in honor of Raymond's son and 2 white stone benches on either side for other grieving visitors like him. This is your place, Ray. You don't have to come at night anymore. Chevron's Joe Lorenz said at the memorial's unveiling, adding, to be able to help those who have lost a loved one, we're very proud. I'm a parent myself, and if I were in the same situation as these families, I would also want to have a place to honor the memory of those who have left us and who will always be missed. Because in the end, that is what kindness and compassion are all about. Sharing and empathizing with the pain of others as if it were our own. This beautiful story reminds us of this and gives us an example of how things should be done right. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.